Hello again, and welcome back to part 2 of our Stillwaters video series, Sensory Needs and How to Meet Your Child's Sensory Needs. Again, I'm Charlotte Harrington LLMSW, and I'm so excited today to give you part 2 of our sensory series, the mini-series. Last time we talked a bit about the different 7 senses and overstimulation and understimulation, or oversensitivity and undersensitivity to sensory input. Today, I'm going to finish the tips and tricks for caregivers and parents to help better support your child's needs. We briefly talked about observing your child and noticing which areas of their sensory environment they're gravitating toward and seeking, and which areas they're avoiding or trying to remove themselves from. The more information you have, the better equipped you'll be to help support them and avoid as many battles as possible, which I'm sure every parent and caregiver wants. So, also, as you are observing your child seeking and avoiding different stimuli in their environment, you can label verbally as much as possible. This is especially important for nonverbal or children who just don't really communicate yet or want to. So, for example, you can watch your child and say, "You are smelling the flowers. Now you're smelling the roses. I think you really like how they smell. They smell good to you." This gives your child a sense of what they're doing and helps them integrate verbally the matching of what they're actually doing to meet their needs during their sensory seeking. You could also say something like, "You covered your ears when you heard that thunder. It was too loud for you and you did not like it." Again, this is a way to help give voice to what they're experiencing so that they can begin to better understand and advocate for meeting their own sensory needs. Also, another good tip is to create a sensory basket. This can be something that you store in your home in a place that's easily accessible, such as on your child's bedroom floor or in the playroom. Or it could be something that you take with you, places that you know your child may struggle, such as a car ride or maybe the doctor or dentist. So, to make your sensory basket, first you want to make sure you have as much information as possible about what your child likes when it comes to their sensory input. You can put in something calming in terms of scent, maybe a bottle of lavender lotion. Maybe you're going to put some mints or something like that, as long as your child is able to have mints safely, of course. You could also put in something soft, maybe a square of fabric or part of their favorite small stuffed animal. You could also put in something to help them feel stimulated in terms of sight. For example, maybe they would really like a mini kaleidoscope, and if you see them holding it up to the light and enjoying it, you know it's appropriate. But maybe it's not, and maybe it's too overwhelming. And you can easily trade it in for something that they would like that does meet their needs. You can also put in things that meet their needs for sound. So maybe it's headphones. Maybe everything is just too loud for your kiddo. Or maybe it's not, and you can put in something that makes a nice, soothing sound. Of course, you're going to keep in mind the setting. If you bring in something that's super loud and you're trying to drive, that won't work. So be aware and be prepared about where this will be used and how you can meet your child's needs safely and in a way that doesn't distract from anybody else. This can also be something great that you can use for your child when they're just upset. Even if they don't have high sensory needs, it might be something that they can create with you and grab it when they need to just calm down or take a breather. You can also understand how to help your child get ready for the outdoors or when you do need to leave the house once the pandemic is at a different level. For example, maybe your child does not like sunscreen or a hat, but in the summer you really want them to wear it. Of course, safety is our first priority. And whatever the rules or values of your home are, you're going to try to teach your child. But you also need to consider their sensory needs. For example, maybe the more you make it into a routine, the easier it will be. So if you use a visual aid, print off a picture of a hat and of sunscreen with a 1 and a 2, and say, "All right, you're waking up from nap or you're done reading, we're going to go outside. Here's our list, first hat, then sunscreen." And every day do that until it's less of a battle. In terms of sensory needs, you want your child to find a hat that they find comfortable and not try to force them into wearing something that they really don't like, because they're just going to keep taking it off. Same goes for sunscreen. Try to find one that doesn't irritate your child's skin. Also, when weather gets cold, even though it's hard to imagine right now, this is important. You want to avoid textures and different fabrics that really irritate your child's skin. You may want to remove a tag from something, and you might want to make sure that the clothing fits loosely enough so that it doesn't feel constricted to the child. You can also give your child as much appropriate choice as possible. This may mean saying, I looked at the weather, it's cold. We're going to play outside. I need you to choose hat, gloves, or mittens from the green bin, and I need you to please choose a coat from the yellow bin. And ahead of time, you can plan and put in only appropriate choices. So they still have a say, but everything they're choosing from, you are okay with. This teaches your child to have more independence, but it's also a wonderful compromise. And finally, they really disagree and they won't wear those mittens once you get outside, try natural consequences in a safe way. That means that let your child notice, my hands do feel cold. Okay, maybe I will put my gloves back on. For children who really don't understand or can't regulate, you may need to think ahead of time of a plan to avoid an issue. That may mean, okay, your gloves are off and your hands are really cold. We'll go inside. Not arguing, not feeding into a lot of negatives, just saying, let's go inside and make some lunch. Let's go look inside. I think I saw your fire truck in the living room. We'll come outside another time. Giving as much emphasis on the positive, like, thank you for putting your coat on. Now you are warm and ready, is the most important thing you can do. A sensory seeking or avoiding child just really wants to feel like their needs can be met and they are understood. Thank you so much for watching our video. Please be sure to leave us a comment or subscribe and like. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Please remember, these are general suggestions only. Every child is different. If your child is not responding to simple lifestyle changes, please consider taking them to an occupational therapist for a professional perspective on their sensory needs and/or psychological testing to get more in-depth analysis and support for your child. Thank you, and goodbye.